I'm not sure if you listen to too many of our podcasts, but we never do intros because I'm a painfully uncomfortable, socially anxious individual, and I reel them off, and they just they never happen, Veg. But I will say, welcome back, Vedran, the man who's
so good to be back
as usual, joined by me every week. He's just pissed off for 4 weeks, Jackson.
Where did you go?
I went to Queensland, and the reason being is I've got a partner who can't stand the cold, but funnily enough, she's from Tasmania, so that doesn't make much sense. But we've got a little one, 6 months old.
Nice.
And we just felt bad, it was a little bit cold. Can't take her for walks, cold at night. So we just got up to Queensland for a month. It's beautiful.
Apparently it was very cold though so did you get back a few days ago?
Yeah, I did.
My girlfriend went to the footy, I think last week when she was there, to the Gold Coast Richmond game. She goes for Richmond. They scored 2 goals. I think they lost by like 120 points, but she said it was freezing cold that day in Gold Coast.
Is she's from here? Well, I think people up there think it's cold. We got told to pack jackets and Ugg boots and whatnot, and we were like, we were steaming up there. Yeah. It was warm. It was schwitzing.
It looked like a great time. But Jack, I will intro Jackson. This has been a long time coming.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us before saying anything else. That we've had this interesting online friendship for a long time, and we've been wanting to do this for a long time. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity now that you're launching your own podcast.
Yep.
Warne's Way to come in and do this. So. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's like you guys have been such a big supporter of mine, and not only the legacy as well, but always sharing stuff, always helping promote. I remember you always reaching out, making sure if you want to catch up for a beer or just talk or whatever, you're always there for me. So even though we hadn't met in person yet, it feels like we already all know each other. So no, thank you for having me. It's cool to be here. You've got a great setup.
It is, and it's an awesome feeling. For context for the listeners, I just walked in and there's a bit going on in Richmond and we're rushing in the door, and I just forgot as we were giving each other a hug on the way in there that we haven't actually physically met each other.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange thing.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like on social media, because you're looking at each other through a screen and seeing each other's faces like daily, even though you haven't met in person, when you do meet in person, it feels like you already met them before, already connected. So I feel like that's the relationship we've already got. We've also got a lot in common. I've been seeing you sharing a lot of the cricket leading up into the Ashes and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I think the way you use AI is really, really funny. Baby Stokes and everything. I've actually met him and he's a great guy, and I'm excited to hopefully catch up with him in December. But no, I think you guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you. That's not great to hear that he's a good bloke, because I think for every other month of the year we like to go, yeah, they're all right. They're just like us, the Palms, and they're okay. But as the Ashes sort of roll in, gloves off. And I don't care if he's a good bloke. He's a shit one for the next couple of months. Shake his hand and hopefully, shake his hand.
Yeah.
Importantly.
No, you'd have to sort of get that into your mindset, because that's when you have to go out and perform. Like Dad used to do that all the time, even though you'd have a lot of respect for other people you're versing or anything like that. You have to sort of mentally pretend like you hate them, then you have to believe it, so then you can actually go out there and perform. A bit like Michael Jordan. I'm not sure if you've seen The Last Dance, but he would make things up in his head that no one's ever said to him, but he made it up in his head and believed it so much that he thought it was real. Then that's when he says he made it personal, and then he'd go out and perform.
So I remember your old man had a little run-in with Marlon Samuels, is it?
Yeah, grabbing people.
Yeah, grabbing people, because I think Samuels was kind of going at Huss a little bit, and then your old man came in and kind of stepped in and, told him to fuck off. And I'm sure that's not what your old man actually probably thought of Marlon. I'm sure they were mates off the field, but like, I don't know, he got very protective of his teammate.
No, he was definitely a protective man. He always wanted to sort of be that, like, take the leadership, take the responsibility. He didn't mind if it was a 1v11. He really backed his ability, and especially on the cricket pitch, he never thought the game was ever at a losing position until you've actually lost. So no matter what the score was, he'd be like, mate, just give me the ball and let me bowl. And he actually won the game off his own wrist a lot of times. But going back to the Marlon Samuels, that clip, I still get people sometimes come up to me and just grabbing me and go, grabbing people, Marlon, grabbing people. It's one of the best clips, because he's like 43, 44 years old when he's doing that, playing for Melbourne Stars. And it's turned out to be that and the mic'd up moment with Brendan McCullum were probably one of his two most iconic moments after he'd sort of retired from Test.
That mic'd up moment with McCullum, was that where he just said, I'm going to slide one in fast?
Exactly, yeah. And that was sort of, I'm pretty sure it was the first year of Big Bash. It was the first time someone had been mic'd up for it as well. And I want to say it was in like the first at least 4 or 5 games. It sort of went really viral at the time, before social media is what it is. got millions of views on Facebook and YouTube, and I reckon it's probably one of my... I just think it's really cool seeing him say exactly what he's going to do and then do it. Because he did that for 20 years, but no one would ever hear it. Because he would deliberately bowl in certain places, let them hit a 6 or a 4 or make them think that's what's going to happen. But then he'd just completely surprise them. He loved the mental battle of Test cricket.
I've actually got this written down. I was deep diving last night and just, you watch things and try to do research, but then inevitably when you're looking at your father's career, you just end up going towards, that's fun. It was that started with the mic'd up moment, but I heard Shane reflecting on exactly what you just said, that he loved playing mind games and the mental side of things, that he would just pick people apart. And there's something fantastic about listening to someone, I've heard you say this as well, someone who is the absolute best at what they do, talking about how they did it. He really loved that mental side of things. Did any of that sort of rub off on you? You're a prolific poker player. I had a chat with Luke Tunnicliffe the other day, actually. Good mate of yours.
I'm catching up with him tonight, actually, for another home game.
Oh, brilliant.
But no, Tunners is a great man. And I think all the mindset and everything that rubbed off on me with Dad was probably more because I don't really play sport, but it was more like the resilience and the mindset of how to be mentally strong and don't sort of let outside noise affect you. Whether there's positive or negative articles, don't engage and don't take it personally. If you're comfortable in your own skin and you know who you are as a person and all you can do is be positive and help the people around you, who cares what they're saying? It's not real. And there's been so many articles, especially since Dad's passed, whether it be like investigating what actually happened while he was away, or people bringing up stuff from the past, or any of these like just shit journalisms. Like, sure, I read it. Sometimes I read the comments, which I shouldn't, but I read the comments and then I just forget about it, because that's how I knew Dad would be. Like, he always would get negative articles before a test match saying he's overweight or he's fat, eating too many pies, whatever it was. But he would be so mentally strong that he'd just get rid of all of that and then just go out and perform. Take fifers, take 10fers, whatever it was. He always just let his cricket do the talking.
Yeah, that is something that I've struggled to get my head around myself in my own life. But do you think that he always had that when it was behind the scenes? He was actually like that. He did sort of rub it off and just let it go. Quickly.
Well, yeah. There was a good story that I spoke to Mark Howard about, and Mark Howard brought it up, and it would have been one of the last little bits of commentary Dad did at the start of 2022. Or at the start of 2021, and there was a really bad photo. There were lots of bad photos of Dad, but there was a bad photo of Dad on the balcony with a Red Bull having a smoke.
I remember the one.
He got photographed everywhere he went, but he sort of embraced it. He, again, like I said, he knew who he was as a person. He didn't really care. But when he hopped into the cab, he's like, boys, there's been some bad photos of me here, and what would have affected me or anybody else probably quite a while affected Dad for 5 minutes, and then he's like, okay, well, we're still got to go out and commentate. So there's still things we have to go and do. I'm not going to let a bad photo or a bad article affect me.
That's awesome. I actually did hear that story. It was Michael Vaughan was involved. It extends out a little bit further, doesn't it?
Yeah. But no, he was so mentally strong, and I think that's why I'm able to sort of talk about, like, even though talking about Dad is quite sad, I know Dad would want me to do it, and I know he'd want me to be strong by doing it. And, if it can help other people talk about things that might be uncomfortable for them, that would, I think, maybe help.
This is, as an outsider looking in, it feels weird to say it, but kind of having watched you and grow from afar, there's a little bit of, I'm proud of you doing this. It's like, it's a weird thing to say, but I think we do have a lot of similarities. I'm someone who's been painfully... So you've talked about this openly, so I hope I'm not saying things that you haven't said here, but my social anxiety is enormous. Like to do a podcast even is, the veteran hears it every day. I'm a quivering mess, and I have this stammer, and I sound like Joe Biden sometimes when I'm just trying to get a word out.
No, you're doing great.
But I think it's awesome what you're doing. And
Thank you.
I've heard you talk about that maybe growing up you didn't lean into this as much, storytelling about Dad, and you're obviously, like all of us are, we're trying to find our own identities in the world. But I heard you speak recently about really leaning into it now, and how good is it?
Yeah, no, I definitely was somebody that never really would talk about things, whether it be something sad or negative, or I've done something, whatever it was, I would never really talk about it. And then I'd speak to Dad about a few things, and he'd be like, yep, he'd give me lots of good advice. But then it was only until after the State Memorial when I spoke about something that was sort of so personal to me in such a public setting. When I sort of walked off the stage and didn't cry, and I was happy with how that went, or not happy, but like comfortable with how that went, and I knew Dad would be proud of it. I sort of like, if I can do that, I can sort of do anything. Like, I'd like to think that's probably one of the hardest things I'd ever do in my life. And I had people come up to me and they've said, I don't know how you did that. If I had to talk at my dad's funeral, I probably couldn't do it, especially for being so public with cameras and all. I don't know how you did it. So when I'm hearing all these things, I've gone, well, I knew I had to because Dad would want me to do it. And so now, because I've got that perspective, I find talking on camera a lot more, I don't want to use the word easy, but I can do it a lot more confidently. 99% of the time I'm talking about Dad, so I'm talking from the heart, I'm talking out of love. But it's been cool. Lots of the feedback I've gotten hearing stories about Dad has been really nice and positive. The only negative ones are probably people that have encountered him on the road. Dad had a big road rage. He's always trying to go a bit faster than everybody else. And so that's probably the only negative stories I've had from people. But no, it's cool sort of being able to remember Dad and, you know, come to podcasts like this and just talk about him.
Yeah, mate, I actually had a run-in with your dad one night. It was quite funny. I don't think I've told Jim this story either, but I was, I reckon, 26. This was nearly 9 years ago. Yeah. And one of my mates who I was living with at the time, Mike Christides, one of the Untitled guys, he was like, he comes into my room at like 10 p.m. at night. He's like, mate, it's a school night. Like, it's a Sunday or Monday night. And he's like, man, what are you doing? Get dressed. We're going to the Logies after party. And I'm like, mate, I fucking got work tomorrow. He's like, no, trust me, it'll be grouse. He's like, got us on the list. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I've chucked his shirt on, the skinniest jeans you can see. And we went to Club 23.
Oh, yeah, Crown.
Yeah, Crown. That's right, your old man's club.
I just spent a bit of time in there myself.
Yeah, right there as well.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Really? That's so good. I just missed out. I got to go there because sort of my whole, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right.
I was always, my whole life I just wanted to speed run to get to 18 so I could finally just enjoy life with Dad. And then that's when I got to travel with him a lot and I used to caddy with him for all these golf tournaments. But I remember the first time I went to Club 23 with him, it was awesome. We got looked after really well.
Mate, it's a great space. It's a great spot.
I know. Unfortunately, it's no longer there, but the concept behind it was awesome. Like Dad said, you have all these celebrities or singers or actors or famous people, whatever you want to call them, all come to Melbourne, but like, where do they go? They don't go anywhere. And at the time, this is when Dad was very good friends with James Packer and Joe Hasham, and that's when they had the idea, let's open up a really exclusive, classy nightclub at Crown, so when VIPs come from all around the world and they're staying at Crown, they've got somewhere to have an after party. So that was the idea behind it. Dad did a massive launch. I think Tiger Woods was there, Michael Jordan. Yeah, there was
at the launch. Yeah,
there was a pretty massive launch.
Was that the famous photo?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was a massive launch about it, and Dad got a lot of people in, and it did really well for like a long time. But now I don't think it's no longer there. And
it wouldn't make sense.
I think it shut down around COVID or maybe just before COVID. But I got to go there a few times, and it was great.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah. Mate, sorry, back to your story.
No. It's just a quick one. We walked in, toilets on the right. My mate's like, I just got to go to the bathroom, wait here. So I sat down on this ledge out front of the toilets. I'm just on my phone, and someone sits next to me, and it's the old man, and I've just frozen. And you know, like people go, you know, what would you say to your hero if you met them? I said nothing. I said absolutely nothing. And he goes to me, he goes, "Oh, you mate, having a good night?" And I'm like, I think he just saw that I was like an absolute no one. And I'm like, yeah, we just had a little chat. He goes, you here with? And I'm like, oh yeah, I was trying to lie, make up that I was meant to be. It was a Logies after. I had no place to be there. Then he's like, my mate came out. He's like, mate, go grab a drink, chuck it on my tab. And I've strolled up to the bar, gone 2 beers. They didn't ask me because it was an open bar. He was taking the piss. Yeah. it was an open bar. Yeah. So they didn't even ask me for any money or anything. Yeah. Very, very little brief run-in. But I think it was super nice that he just, I don't know, I still am an absolute no one, but he just, felt he was happy enough to say hello.
He had time for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're the truck driver or somebody smokers at Crown at 2 a.m. or a doctor, the politician, the Queen. Like, it doesn't matter who you were. He was always himself, and he always had time for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Mate, I just back to the kind of, his friendships. We mentioned there that he had Jordan, Tiger Woods at Club 23 opening. I was saying to Jim this morning, I'm like, I've got a really kind of one really weird question that I want to ask Jackson. Just like, when you were like a pimply 12, 13, 14-year-old. You're upstairs like, get out of my room, Dad, you know, and he's like, Jackson, come down for dinner. And like, who have you like walked into in your like at your dining table for dinner? Like, which celebrities have you gone, oh yeah, that's just Chris Martin, you know?
Yeah, people like Chris and Ed, obviously Elizabeth. Mostly, the one thing that I was always really excited though was when I was even a little bit younger, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, and Dad used to have like his poker home games. And it was at the time when I was collecting footy cards, and because Dad's a massive Saints fan, he'd be like, oh, Jacko, you know, just come down here around 7:30 after dinner. I've got some people that want to meet you. I'd go, okay. And I'd go downstairs and be like, Nick Rewald, Lee Montagna, Brendan Goddard, Stephen Baker.
Yeah.
All these like legends of the St Kilda Football Club and people I love, and I've got all their footy cards, and I'm like, oh, hi guys, and start just sitting on Dad's lap watching what's happening, and Dad's like, go get your footy cards, the boys will sign them for you. So I go in there, they sign my autograph, I go to school the next day, show everybody, oh look, I've got Nick Rewald's signature on my footy card. And I think that's just what I think was really cool, because you look at all these people, it's like, oh, these, you know, they're up here, but they're just people.
Yeah.
You know, they're just people, they're just humans. They've got shit going on in their life like we do. They've got things they're nervous about or things they're excited about, hobbies, interests. But no, I think if I could pick one person, Chris would definitely be at the top of the list. He's been somebody that's been in our family for such a long time, and he was one of the first people to reach out after Dad passed, said, if your whole family want to come on tour for the next 6 months, whatever, come with us. Brooke's partner, my older sister, is an electrician, and he offered, he's like, mate, if Alex wants to come over and set up the lights or music with everybody else, he can come do that. And he was just super, super welcoming. And I remember the very first time I actually met Chris was after his first Viva La Vida concert here. I want to say it was either 2007 or 8 when Dad played the harmonica. We actually went backstage with him, and I had a burping contest with him. We could both burp the alphabet. So that was my first and most vivid memory with Chris, both trying to burp off the alphabet backstage after one of his concerts.
I would love to see some footage of that.
Yeah. Oh, so would I. If it exists somewhere on a security camera somewhere, that would be great.
Yeah, we've got a bit of truck noise, so if you're hearing that on the recording,
it won't come through the mics.
Won't come through, just in case. But
I'll just make a cup.
Was that? Did you just, what was that, some sagecraft?
Some sagecraft, yeah.
Dude, wow.
Some magic.
We are learning as podcasters here.
Know where to cut later.
Yeah. How many episodes have you done?
What have we done?
This is 22.
Nice. Well, it would have been cool if I was the 23rd.
No, yeah.
If I was number 23.
It might actually be. How many did you do in Sydney?
If it is 23, then you have done some magic.
How many did you do in Sydney?
I'll tell you what, this might be 23. No, this is okay. We can cut and all that sort of stuff. But we have to ascertain if this is 23 right now.
Yeah. It would be cool.
It is.
It is number 23.
Oh, you're kidding. That is so freaky.
That's How freaky. Cool is that? Meant to be.
Meant to be.
Wow, that's actually...
You're meant to go away for a month.
Yeah,
it's meant to be. Spoke for, and then meant to be here today.
That is nuts. And so as I was getting out of the car, I was listening to you talk to Ant Middleton here. I'm obsessed with him. I think it's fantastic. And you were talking about how often 23 comes up, and there was an Uber.
All the time.
That's just giving me... I've got goosies, mate.
Are you
I'm
superstitious in any way, or like do you kind of... sounds weird, but do you ever kind of feel like your father's guiding you in any way or there in a certain moment?
100% every single day. I'm not I don't have any sort of superstitions, but I'll check my phone and all the time it'll be 10:23, 6:23. I always see the number 23. I'm always looking at number plates, and whether it be 887 or whatever the number plates are, I'm always adding up the numbers and it adds up to 23. All these signs I see and feel every single day.
That's awesome.
I definitely know he's with me, and it might sound cuckoo because before Dad passed away, I'd be a bit like, okay, whatever. But since Dad passing, I feel him like everywhere we go. He's even in the room when you said we're episode 23. Like we could be any episode, and we're episode 23.
Yeah, I love that.
That's rattled me a bit in a good way.
Yeah.
It's, unbelievable stuff.
Mate, just another random question that I had. I've got the weird ones. Does he sleep at home? Does he sleep at home during the Boxing Day test? Like, does he sleep at his house in Melbourne?
After a big
after the game,
after when he was
the Boxing Day test, right? Like he's obviously got his home in Melbourne.
Would he come back
like after day 2? Does he come home and go sit down at the dinner table and go, God VVS Laxman gave me hell today?
Yeah. Do you mean when he was playing?
Yeah,
or
when he was
commentary?
playing. When he was playing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's so funny. Isn't it?
He used to have a tradition that started in the early 90s that when all of the players were in Melbourne, because it's very hard for all of the players all be in the same city at the one time, especially in Melbourne. And before Boxing Day, a lot of the players' Christmases were spent in the hotels. Like that was people's Christmases, because all the family and the players, they have to be there for Boxing Day, and they're not going to fly in the morning of or on the morning of Christmas. So they will get there a few days before. So Dad started a tradition where he'd have all of the players over at his house Christmas Eve. And he'd just have a big night with everybody and, you know, have a bit of a mini Christmas with everybody's friends and family. Then they'd all go home, spend their Christmas days in the hotels, and then play Boxing Day. Because he didn't really have time to celebrate after, because everyone would go their own ways. But that was sort of Dad's way to bring everybody together. Like I've got so many memories of like Glenn McGrath and Gilly and Punter, all these people just being over at our house just before Christmas. Like, I just think it was so cool.
That's awesome.
For us nuffies, to think about that is, to see what you're getting at, it's like, it's just a wild thing to imagine in our minds.
Yeah, I think about it, like, even from a funny perspective, like, you know, your dad gets home from work and he's like, oh, well, you know, how's your day? Oh, yeah, I, laid 10 tons of concrete today. Like, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, I took my 700th at the G today. Yeah. Oh, how's your day, son?
Yeah, that's definitely something that's really cool to think about. And sort of at the time, you don't think it's that special or that important or that, you know, significant. But at the time, I'm just seeing Dad go out and do his thing and come back, and I'm just building my Lego or playing games, and he just comes home, we cuddle, goes to bed, maybe have some Maccas, and then, you know, go on with our day. But to me, that was normal. But looking back now, like, do you know how cool that is? Yeah. It's so cool.
And you're hearing all these stories through your own podcast now, that some of the guests I've seen pop up in the promo you did for it. Wow.
Yeah.
Have any of those stories changed your perception of Dad in any way, or just giving you new insight? Is that the purpose of what you're doing?
I don't think it's changed like my perspective of him. It's definitely made me smile, because it's just reminding me who Dad was. Like, the Dad that I knew when he was at home is the exact same dad or the exact same Shane that he was with his broadcasting friends, with his players. Like, it's all the exact same version of him. Because you do see two versions of Dad. You see the one that's always in the media and that version of Shane. But the version of Dad that I get to know is what all of his closest friends and family are. And so when they tell me all these stories, I'm, oh, that's so Dad, you know, like this. So it's just making me smile. Yeah,
it's interesting looking at the project, and they're all, these guests seem to be people who have had a relationship with Shane and yourself. And this is the other part, is they've all had this great relationship with you, and listening even to Howie speak to you, there's the genuine love there. You've clearly had a relationship with him growing up, and coming in here and talking to us, I was just thinking, what is actually my relationship with the figure who, to me, because I never met your dad, I didn't even have a run-in, and your family. It was, as a kid, as soon as summer came around, I didn't give a shit about anything else in cricket other than I just wanted to bowl spin.
Yeah.
I had my Shane Warne ball where it told you where to place your fingers.
Did it?
Yeah.
Was it a leather ball, or was it like one of the rubber?
Rubber.
Yeah, rubber. Okay.
It was a rubber one. I think it's still 10 at this time. And we'd go down to Tassie and visit my cousins and things, and you just knew that at the moment we get off the plane, it's cricket from here on. And the one-dayers were on, and just some of the best memories of my childhood were just flicking the TV on and sitting with my dad and my family, and just seeing your dad out there just doing things that were just unbelievable, and rock star, you know, the shirt open and just winking at people like I'm about.
His selection of photos is unbelievable. Awesome. That he's been like tapped in, like that photo is iconic. Like, could you imagine like Pat Cummins or something punching a dart, Australia hat on backwards? You would not see that these days.
It's different times, and like there's so many. One thing that I'm really lucky with and that I actually love to do is, if I'm ever thinking about Dad or anything like that, I'd like to think I've seen nearly every single photo of him, but I can just look up Shane Warne smoking, or Shane Warne party, or Shane Warne car. Yeah, there's a photo of him pouring beer on a barbecue as well. Or if you look up Shane Warne Maccas, there's ones of him like flipping burgers at Maccas,
I haven't
dressing
seen
up
that.
at Maccas. Yeah, because I think it was 2012 or 2013 down at Elsie Maccas, which was our local.
Yeah.
He was looking to buy a franchise, and that franchise at the time was the most grossing one in the Southern Hemisphere. Like that's what they said, whether they were telling the truth or selling the dream. I just, like, to me, that's like my second home, that specific Macca's in Elstonwick. And so when Dad was looking at buying the franchise, they actually said, well, look, if you want to buy the franchise, you have to work here for 12 months. And Dad was sort of like, okay, well, obviously I'm not going to work here for 12 months. Is there something we can do? And they said, unfortunately not. So he never ended up getting it. But like we loved our Maccas, and there's so many nice photos of him.
That's a poor move on their. That's a poor move on their behalf.
But by the sound of it, if there's photos, maybe he did a day.
Yeah, no, he did a day. He did a day and did the full photo shoot and everything like that. He's like, oh yeah, look, I'd love to buy it. What do I have to do? So, well, you got to work here for 12 months. He's like, okay.
So good.
It's sensational.
Can't do that.
Did you find that photo then?
I haven't found the flipping burgers one, but I'm just looking
Is there some behind with him wearing an apron and stuff like that?
Yes.
If you look up Shane Warne Macca's.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came up with the Legend Burger as well in that photo shoot when it came out. I know he brought out the Chicken McBites. That was one of his ideas because I love popcorn chicken from KFC. So he's like, oh, why don't we do something like that at Macca's? And it was the Chicken McBites. I'm not sure if that's still on the menu or not.
He's very entrepreneurial, right?
Oh, definitely.
He had that many ventures.
Yeah, he definitely had lots of businesses. He tried his own undies, which are called Spinners. He launched his own beer called 99 Not Out. He's got his own fragrance, the SW23 fragrance.
I had it.
Have you got it?
Yeah. I had it. I use it.
I use it? Yeah. They still, I think, sell it at Chemist Warehouse. But he tried everything. He tried everything, and then he did golf sort of polos and hats. But he was always doing something.
Yeah. Did that rub off on you a little bit?
Definitely. From such a young age, he'd always have like these business meetings once a month with his accountants, lawyers, managers, PA, like his whole team of probably 8 or 9 people once a month. And he'd just say, Jacko, come just sit on my lap or just sit in and listen. And at the time, I'm not really taking any of it in. But I think as I've gotten older, when I've got decisions to make or sitting in other meetings or boardrooms, I'm actually thinking, oh, I've heard this before. I know what that means. So I was just slowly absorbing it all into my sort of subconscious. And now I think it's definitely sort of coming out of me. But yeah, he was a super, super smart guy. Before he was a cricketer, he was actually studying to be an accountant. And it was one thing in the State Memorial which I loved, because some people probably think most athletes are quite dumb or something like that. But Dad was really, really smart. And one thing that got brought up at the State Memorial, I think it was one of his managers that was talking about it, was like, Shane was actually very smart. He wanted to do a lot of the business meetings himself. He wanted to do a lot of the negotiating himself. He wanted to know what everything meant. He loved numbers. He loved all that sort of stuff. So he was actually very intelligent. And so that's one thing I love, that sort of people are slowly starting to find out about him, that he wasn't just like this aggressive bowler. He was actually a really smart guy.
It's great education for you to have, not really knowing it's even happening. They're the best kinds. And that what you're doing with the foundation now, the Legacy Foundation, could you walk us through that?
Yep.
Health checks and what you're doing there?
Yeah, so the Shane Warne Legacy, to be sort of exact, it's not a foundation or charity.
Right.
It's like a not-for-profit, and we're purely sponsor-funded. But what the Shane Warne Legacy is, we thought at the time after Dad had passed, so many people were going to get their hearts checked, mostly male, and when they were asked, why are you getting your heart checked or anything like that, they'd all say, well, Shane Warne just passed away. And there were so many people, like tens of thousands of people that in Australia got that checked because of the news of Dad, and some from that actually had to make change, whether they got stents or had to change their lifestyle or their habits. And now they're alive today living a healthier life, and they call that the halo effect. So we thought, well, if people are doing that just because they heard the news, and I don't want to take any credit for it because I'm sort of just the ambassador for it, and I like to think I'm involved with the decisions and stuff like that, but there's so many people behind the scenes every day working on the Legacy that we've now got over 350,000 total checks. We've got, I think, around 400 machines all around Australia, which is like, it's unheard of. We launched in late 2023 at the Boxing Day test with our first activation, and our partner Sisu, who have got the machines, they said, we've got these machines, we've done a few hundred checks in a month. Would be super impressive if you can get maybe, 1,000 in that month, good luck, guys. And we're like, no. Our goal is to get 23,000 by the end of the month. We want to try and get around 7,000 at the Boxing Day test. That's our goal.
I remember.
And
this was nuts.
Yeah, and that's our goal. And the Latrobe were like, okay, that's very ambitious, but if you can get that, like, we'll do whatever you want. That's an amazing achievement. That's an amazing goal. If you can spread awareness like that for heart health and get that amount of checks, and that'd be great. And so we did that. Every day we were looking at the numbers. They were going up and up and up. And it's thanks to like Channel 7 and Fox Sports, all the radio stations, giving me and my family the platform to actually spread it, and the MCG for allowing us to be there. But yeah, to have that amount of checks and our machines operating at pretty much 100% for 4 or 5 days straight is just unheard of. And I've had so many people come up to me and they've said, if it wasn't like a Shane Warne Legacy health check, I probably wouldn't do it. But it's because they feel familiar with Dad and the family talking about it that they feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
And like, it's a non-invasive check. It's free. It's done in literally under 5 minutes. Sure, you might have to line up, but like that check could save your life and it's saving you money. And we don't want to tell people not to go to their hospitals or GPs, but for the same check that you get a hospital GP, it might take you a few weeks to get in. It might cost money. And like for us, you can just go on our website, type in your postcode, and the closest one will literally pop up to you.
I had a family friend, do the check through that machine, and he's ended up having quite a major operation, and really? I don't want to butcher what it was, but he's come through fantastic, healthy again, older bloke, and so it's a walking, talking example of this. Sorry, Virgin.
Yeah, no, I was going to say there's so much power to your dad's image. You mentioned trust there. I did the test purely because I saw it at the price line underneath the building that I was living in South Yarra. Probably not the demographic, the target demographic, but for me it was a fun little activity to do at the price line while I was waiting for whatever script I was waiting for. But I think just having your dad's association with that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'll just do it. You know what I mean? Whereas if it was just a random machine, I might not have.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely the feedback we've gotten. And because of that feedback, we know we're doing something right and we know we're doing something positive. And like to sort of say, like I've had people literally tell me Shane Warne saved my life. Like that is so cool. And not to sound cliche or cringe or whatever, but like it is really cool. And it is really true that if you've saved one life, it's, you've done the right thing, and we've saved like hundreds, if not thousands. Like we have proof of people every single day getting the check and, changing their lifestyle or their habits. Or there's actually one story, the first year we did it. Sorry if I'm going on a bit of a tangent.
No, please.
That's what we do.
There was one person who came to day one with his family, was in the red for a lot of the things, and it checks for your BMI, your average heart rate, your cholesterol levels, diabetes risk, all these. It's like a basic health check that if something does flag in the red, like, it's pretty concerning. And the nurses, they do such a good job, but it's like also their responsibility to make sure that people don't freak out. Because if you are in the red for a lot of these things, in theory, you could be a ticking time bomb. It could be one thing or one moment that sets your heart to just drastically go up, whether it be a car accident or something that scares you and that could trigger it. And so there was somebody that on the first day was in the red. They pretty much said very calmly, like, look, you need to go to the hospital, like, right now. We can send you there in an ambulance. I said, okay. Went to the hospital. That day they said, thank you so much for coming in with us. We're going to do an operation. Got stents put in. Was there day 3 at the test and came up and said, just want to say a massive thank you for, having this awareness and these machines, because if it wasn't, I might not be here. So
that's amazing.
And that is real. And that is somebody that got the check, saw his results, decided to make an actual change, and is now alive.
That is amazing. You're absolutely right. So I went up to Sydney to meet James Magnuson, who's doing the enhanced games. Yes,
yeah.
Great bloke.
Like, awesome bloke. I did SAS with him, and he was probably one of my closest people with him. He was awesome. He was an absolute beast.
What a great segue, because I did want to work SAS in there at some point. But he was talking about when he went into the enhanced games, he hadn't done, when you're an athlete, you get tested all the time.
Yeah.
You're healthy, everyone's on top of your health and whatnot. But then 8 years passed post-career, or 7 or 8 years, and he hasn't actually gone to the doctor or done anything or seen his bloods. And we were just discussing that this bloke thing that we just avoid it. Yeah. We don't do it. And even like for myself, I'm notorious for this. I probably haven't had my heart checked or done a full health check other than the hormone one when I was looking into doing exactly what he was doing. You're going to catch a lot of people who otherwise are just never going to know, as you say there. And I just had an idea I was just listening to you talk then. We're doing like a backyard cricket series. I'm just this first, I'm going to just say it. Over summer, as maybe I like the Poms, as I spoke about before, for 9 months of the year, but I fucking hate them for the next 3 months. So I think we're going to take on the Poms with some backyard cricket.
So you're setting it up and you've got people from England, like the Barmy Army.
This is the call out now, maybe. Maybe it's a good moment to do it.
Yeah.
There is a particular former British player, English colleague player, it's by the name, but I won't actually say who it is, but I'm working on him. I want to go his 11 versus the 28.
Really? Yeah.
And actually set this up and kind of follow the test around. And there's a bit of momentum getting behind it in the background, but we're really going to do this.
Yeah.
But I thought, if we're doing this, why don't we have one of the machines come along with us? Yep. And this is going to be a mix of the punters who follow the page and people that we some of our friends from the pod. And please come if you have time. I know it gets very busy over summer. It'd be great to involve you, but I'd love to maybe have some of the machines there and do some checks. And
yeah, definitely. What dates were you thinking?
Whenever the test is.
Whenever the test. So you'd be actually playing your backyard cricket at the same time as the test.
I reckon day before, day out, somewhere around.
So sort of like the 22nd, 23rd, like just before Christmas, and then so you'd actually go interstate everywhere as well.
Thinking about it, but the worst case scenario, well, not worst case, it's still a pretty good case. We just do one in Melbourne.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. I'm not sure if you've already picked your 11, but I'm not a very good cricketer myself. But if there's a spare spot, I'd love to come in.
That's actually what we're looking for. The worse, the better.
Come to bowl in some. Well, the worse, but the better. Okay. Well, I've actually played the last game of cricket I played. I would have been maybe 14 or 15 years old, and yes, I was bowling leg spin and took a hat trick.
Did you?
I did, but the truth is, I was bowling moon balls. Do you know what moon balls are?
No.
Moon balls. Think about if you're on the moon and you were bowling a cricket ball that would just float through the air as like the worst ball of all time. And Dad was there at the game as well, sort of coaching for that day, and it was my turn to bowl. Pretending bowling leg spin, end up bowling moon balls, and the ball was so slow that the batsman either came out of his crease to try and whack it for six and missed and got stumped, or whacked it, went straight up and got caught.
This is another example of the Warne genius.
Yeah, I took 5 for in, I think, 8 or 9 balls and took a hat-trick in it as well.
Joking.
So
5 for 8 or 9 balls.
I've still got the cricket ball with the actual plaque. It was one of the only trophies I ever got from my school.
You would have had so many scouts or just people with eagle eyes on you from a very young age going, let's groom him into the next Shane Warne. Think about this.
Yeah, no, Dad definitely was somebody that just protected me. He never pressured me into playing cricket or anything like that. He probably wanted me to play AFL more than cricket just because I think that was his dream. It was his dream to play AFL and play for the Saints, and he only got into cricket when he got delisted. And he just was wanting to really protect me, never pressured me, only wanted me to do it if I felt like doing it, wanted just to be happy over anything. And there was actually one time in COVID 2020, sort of when everything was shutting down. And I'm like, Dad, let's just let's do something. Let's go to the nets. Let's just have some fun and see what we can do. He's okay. So we end up just going to our local nets in Brighton, William Street Oval, and we're probably bowling for maybe an hour. And we probably had 20 cricket balls together. And for the first 5 minutes, it was just us. But then one person would come and see Dad, then two. And then all of a sudden, there was probably 50 people all just watching me and Dad bowl into the nets. And I was so bad. I was bowling and hitting the top of the net, bowling and hitting the side of the net, or it was bouncing 4 or 5 times. But then every time Dad would go back and bowl, you could just hear the through the air and see it turning and all this stuff. And to see somebody that's in their 50s, had 3 shoulder operations and still be able to bowl it just as he was 20, 30 years ago was so cool. And to see all those people's faces as well, they'll probably be the last thing they were expecting while taking their dog for a walk. And they've just seen Shane Warne bowling in their local nets. Like that.
It's a little bit like what you were talking about before. It's just this, imagine just walking your dog as Jacko just said.
Mate, 100%.
But I'm seriously, I don't want to just go past that. Did you just say that you would join the 11?
If there's a spare spot, I'd love to play. I could bowl maybe 1 over or 2 overs. Again, I'll try and bowl my famous moon balls. And the only time I've actually batted, I took maybe when I played that year, I think I made 3 50s. One of them I had to get off because when you make 50, you have to let the other people bat. And then the time before that, I opened with Dad in a charity match in England, got out first ball. Dad thought it'd be a good idea for us both to open together, and I just got the stump just fell out first ball.
Who the hell was bowling to you at a charity event and decided to knock you over?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but Dad gave him the brief. He said, don't go too hard on him, go a little bit easy. And he just came in at pace, traumatised for the rest of it. But no, if there's an opportunity to play, I'd love to play.
Lock it in. That would be absolutely brilliant.
Yep. Have you got an oval where you'd like to organise it, or?
Well,
we need a big backyard.
That's what I'm thinking. Rather than an oval, do we set up some sort of backyard,
like at someone's tennis court or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. That could be pretty cool, and it would turn more on the tennis court.
Actually, I've got an even better idea. You know what we could do? There is an oval. Okay, so Dad's been quite selfish. He's in a jokingly way. There's been multiple stands, multiple ovals, all named in his honour since he's passed. He's got the Shane Warne stand at the G, Shane Warne stand at Junction Oval, Shane Warne stand, like a pop-up one in Sri Lanka, Shane Warne stand at Hampshire. He's now got the Shane Warne Gallery at Rajasthan Royals, where he used to play in India, in Jaipur. He's got the Shane Warne Oval at Mentone Grammar, where he used to go to school, the Shane Warne Oval at Duncan Street, where he used to play in Sandringham as a junior.
Sounds like a tour.
It sounds like a tour. He's probably got more that I've forgotten or can't remember, but I reckon we could host it if I speak to the Sandringham Zebras at the Shane Warne Oval in Sandringham, which is in Duncan Street.
That would be a link.
If we could somehow try and organise that leading up into the Ashes, have sort of the 28-year-old male or the Shane Warne Legacy 11 or collab or whatever you want to make it look like, with some machines, and then verse like the Barmy Army or the England
100%.
11. That could be pretty cool.
That would be brilliant.
Make it a day, and
you might have a better chance of getting to the Barmy Army. So I was disguising his name before. I want Stuart Broad. I want a piece of him
to play in it. Yeah.
I am playing this up enormously. I had a little wind up last summer of the Bumrah's, the toe padding that they had, the fast bowlers put at the end of there. So it fell out of his shoe, and someone caught it on camera, and it looked like a piece of sandpaper.
Did it? Yeah.
Coming out of his shoe. They've sent it to me and go, what's that coming out of Bumrah's shoe? And I just thought, as I was last summer, winding up the Indian faithful, is that sandpaper coming out of Bumrah's shoe? And it's got like 100 million views or something. It's completely viral.
Yeah.
But Stuart Broad jumps in and goes, that is, a toe plaster and very common.
He corrected it and said what it actually is.
Yeah, I know that went viral. But at the end of his comment, he writes, boring.
Oh, about what you made the comment. Have you swapped any messages with him back and forth?
A little bit of banter back and forth.
Okay.
So I'd love to get to him. And, I'm far be it from me to be obsessed with a grudge.
Yeah.
let's get to him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the order. I'm pretty sure it goes. I reckon they're in Melbourne from about the 17th or 18th of December.
Right.
They play the first test in the early, and then I forget. Boxing Day's the third test, isn't it? Then it goes Sydney, then Brisbane. So the second test. So is it Adelaide?
I reckon Adelaide's before it.
Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. I'm forgetting one, aren't I?
Brisbane, because Brisbane changed.
Yeah,
Perth, Adelaide.
Perth. Is it Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne,
Adelaide,
Sydney, Brisbane?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or I think Brisbane. No, Sydney's the last one.
This is really bad of me. I should know this.
Brisbane's at the start. Sorry, we'll cut this out.
It has changed. It has changed.
It has changed, yeah. They are changing. Yeah, they're changing the day-night game this year, I believe.
That will be in Adelaide or Brisbane?
Brisbane,
I believe. A nice Tuesday nighter in Brisbane.
Yeah. So if we can try and organise Stuart Broad to be the captain of the 11, and then yourself to be the captain of this 11, Melbourne versus England, that could be pretty cool.
That'd be brilliant.
How cool would that be at the Shane Warne Oval?
Jim reckons he's not going to play, but he's not getting out of it.
I've got a body double. His name's Mitch Marsh.
Mitch Marsh. Have you spoken to Mitch Marsh? Yeah. Oh, would he play? Oh, he might be playing.
I haven't asked him, but Mitch, if you're listening today, please help me. If Broady's coming at me, I have never played an actual game of cricket. I just played like hours and hours of backyard cricket and street cricket.
That's enough.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I reckon I could probably maybe get Finchy or Maxi, Glenn Maxwell or Aaron Finch if they want to play, if they don't have commitments prior.
Well, I reckon we can't lose. We can't
lose. As long as we've got 2 or 3 superstars, we'll be okay.
Exactly.
And Vaughan is another one who I reckon is
perfect. Michael Vaughan can go on the England team.
Good friends with you.
Yeah, Michael Vaughan, he'll be here definitely commentating for Fox. Stuart Broad. I've actually played a round of golf. I didn't play with him, but it was Dad, Jimmy Anderson, Michael Vaughan, and Stuart Broad. They were the amateurs, and they had the pros for the BMW PGA Tour. I think it was 2019, and it was the year Danny Willett won.
Right.
And in the Pro-Am, Dad was Danny Willett's partner, and he was like, fuck, I think he's going to win this. This is like, he's playing really well.
Yeah.
And played the 18 holes, played unbelievable. Dad's like, nah, I'm going to load up here. I think he put on like $1,000 or $1,500 on him to win. He was paying like 66 to 1. And we were watching it at the EPL game. We were watching it at the Chelsea game like 3 days later. And Dad's like, fuck, I think he's going to win this. And it came down to like the last 3 holes. And there's actually a really funny photo on the internet of me and Dad looking at this phone at the Chelsea game, and we're both looking at this phone going, oh my God. And it was the moment Dad found out that Danny Will had won that golf tournament.
What a read. We'll find that photo, actually.
Yeah.
That'd be a great one to dig up.
Yeah, it was a great photo, and Dad's just like, no, I think he's got this, and he actually won that tournament.
That is wild. That would be
2019 BMW Pro-Am, whatever it was.
You know, I will find that footage.
You have to find that footage. But then there'll be a photo. I don't think I've got a very good haircut at the time. I think I had a very aggressive mullet at the time. So
you ran that for a while.
I've had a lot of different haircuts, especially during the year 2022. I went shaved, bleached, mullet, shaved mullet. I think now I'm back at my normal. My hair is definitely thinning. I think I need to go to Turkey very soon.
Well,
it's getting very thin.
You've come to the right place.
Have you both gone?
Well, no.
We're organising a trip next year.
We're looking at each other like our eyes are right.
You've got great hair. You've got good hair too.
No,
yours a bit thin like mine.
I'm going thin at the back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more
You've
of
got great hair.
I would love, how did I describe it last time? Maybe a calf implant.
Yeah.
Some new chomps.
Yeah, some veneers. Yeah.
Maybe a pavoon or anus.
Yeah. No, Dad had some veneers, and I just remember that just wherever you'd went, whatever he'd eaten, wherever you got photos from, just massive white teeth. Yeah. Just massive white teeth.
Well, he was one of the first adopters of advanced hair. Yeah.
This is what we need to clarify, guys. I've actually been meaning to ask this. What? The Peaky Blinders hat.
Yes.
Was that because he was getting hair plugs at the time?
No, that wasn't. No, he always... No. Well, no, every time he was doing like his hair transplants and doing all that sort of stuff, it was always when he wasn't on commentary. Because he'd always need like a few weeks or a few months for it to grow.
So that was just his own fashion choice, that hat.
The Peaky Blinders. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He loved it, didn't he?
He loved the Peaky Blinders show. He loved Tommy Shelby. And he's like, I'm just going to don this hat. And he donned it, and it looked really good. It actually suited him. And there was actually a really good moment at the Australian Open where I posted a funny video of Dad wearing the Peaky Blinders cap, doing a smoking trick, and the Peaky Blinders official actually saw the video, commented on it, reached out to Dad, swapped a few messages, and Dad's like, do you know how cool it would be? Because he went to the set of Suits when he loved that show. He somehow connected a few dots, got in contact with Harvey Specter, organised a day for him to go on set of Suits, did the day on Suits, and then he was like, I want to try and do a day on Peaky Blinders. Got in contact with him, and his best mate Aaron Hamill was just like, mate, I don't think they're going to want you on set or to do a cameo as Shane Shelby with this, bright white veneers and orange tan back in 1950s Birmingham. They're just not going to want that. And Dad's like, no, we'll see what happens. So
Aaron Hamill told that story from the memorial.
Yeah,
I watched it last night.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aaron Hamill, I did see some recent stuff of it. He looks like he could slot right into one of those shows or even a Game of Thrones sort of setup.
He's a big boy. He's a very strong big boy.
So tell us about your love of the Saints, mate, because I'm a big Saints fan myself. There's not many of us, I don't feel like. Maybe down your way. I'm from the north side of Melbourne, so I don't get too many out there.
We're in tough times for sure.
Yeah. Is our man staying? What do you reckon?
Who, Tony Rollinson or LeBron James?
Naz. Well, I'm not sure if Naz is a cricket fan, but if he is, I've got some memorabilia I can probably negotiate in the contract. If he's a cricket man, I put a few cricket balls in there or some of Dad's jersey to try and
There's
help
talk
him
of a
stay.
Saints super pod with you involved. This is the veterans idea.
Yeah.
We get Naz here, and maybe we just work him over to stay.
Well, we can try and work some magic, but no, I hope he stays. But no, the Saints, I don't know, where it's just tough, isn't it? We always finish in between that sort of 10 to 14, 10 to 13, and we just never get that top 10 draft pick we've never had a father-son. I think we're the only team that's never had a father-son.
You had a father-daughter with one of my great mates, Nathan Burke, the Alice Burke is now the other. But I didn't know you'd never had a father-son.
Oh. Never had a father-son.
There you go.
Not a single one.
Hopefully
in 10 years we've got Nick Rewald's kids.
Yes.
Hopefully I've seen into their footy.
I saw a photo of Lenny Hayes' kids, Joey Montagna's son.
Jeez, when that crop come through.
Yeah, hopefully in 10, 15 years.
Well, now they're trying to change the father-son rule. So I know what's going to happen to us. The year before we get these guys come through, they're going to change the rule. It's going to get stiffed again, finish 11.
Seriously, I'm a North fan. So
you go for North?
Yeah, tragically. It's the same thing, always between 8th and 12th.
When have you finished 8th or 12th? It's always between 13 and 16.
We had a little run there where Brad Scott overachieved and got some has-beens.
Literally when?
2015, we got to 2 prelims in a row, I think, when we took Del Santo at the back end of his career, and that was
10 years ago.
Yes.
It goes fast, doesn't it? It goes quick. It goes very quick.
We suck.
Mate, tell me about what are your goals for the podcast? Because we were chatting a little bit off air before you got on. You said that you've just been meticulous with the detail. He's been planning it since April, like working on it since April. Your old man said, if you're going to do it properly, and you have. Similar to your dinner guests, I could imagine your access to guests on the podcast will probably be second to none in the world. Like we joked when we started this, we're like, why don't we just see if we can get guests on that get us closer to meeting LeBron James?
Yeah.
Whereas I reckon you could probably do that this year.
Yeah.
Go hit up Tiger and then get Tiger.
I definitely don't want people to think I've got the podcast only to interview like sort of famous or big celebrity people. I'd love to talk to people, like make a sort of legacy series and talk to people that have gotten a health check, for example, or just talk to my friends, people that are in the gym scene that aren't even connected to Dad or anything like that. But I definitely think for the start, and while people want to hear stories about Dad, I definitely think I've found a pretty good niche. And as long as I'm comfortable talking about it, and especially if my guests are as well, because for the guests, like I've had a few friends that I've wanted to come on the podcast, very like my closest friends, that would have some amazing Shane Warne stories. They're just not ready. And I don't want to pressure them into doing it, or I want them to be comfortable as well. But for other people, it actually is quite emotional. And like it still is quite raw. It's only been over 3 years, but the podcast idea, it's something that me and Dad had back in 2018 and 19 to do together. And so that's why once I've launched it, this is something I've like said I was going to do, and that I know Dad would be really happy that I'm at least giving it a go. And I did sort of acknowledge that they are popping up out of everywhere, podcasts, and probably people are either sick of seeing them or think everybody's got their own one now. But I said, look, give me 6 months, 1 episode a week, 26 episodes, and if it's shit, I'm gone. But from all the feedback so far, I've only released 1 episode. It has been really positive. I go to the UK next week to hopefully interview people like Michael Vaughan and hopefully Chris from Coldplay. But yeah, we'll see.
Sensational. Well, we actually went a totally different approach. I went out and said, I'm going to do 100 episodes, and if you hate them, I'm going to do another 300.
That's a good way to do it. Just give them a big up yours.
Yes. I think I ended the video with "Get a big dog up you."
Yeah, get a dog up you.
It is a daunting process, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, to me as well, this was probably the last thing I thought I'd be doing, especially talking on camera. I was always so shy and so introverted, like hated socializing, and it wasn't until probably SAS where I did step out of my shell for the first time. Like I got out of my comfort zone in so many different ways. And my 3 biggest fears going on to there, I had to write what my biggest fears were. I didn't write my number 1, which was spiders, but I have the other 3 which I wrote, which was cold water, socializing, and food. And going onto the course, I tried all these new foods, which was fine. Socialized and met new people that I'd never met before. And then the first one was cold water. Hate cold water. No one really likes being cold. But did it, and now I pretty much ice bath and do cold water quite often. That's fine. And because I got out of my comfort zone on that gave me a new level of confidence, not to talk on camera, but just personally. And then again, like I said earlier, after the State Memorial, talking on camera about something so personal and so public. And then since launching the Legacy as well, I've just gotten a lot more comfortable with it. And also when people are sort of hearing stories about Dad, or when they hear me talking about something that's quite raw and emotional, sometimes it might help them to open up to their loved ones about something that might be uncomfortable.
Well, something you won't know this, obviously, but what I obviously watched you speak at the memorial, and growing up, I'll get nervous saying this, I was never able to give a speech at anything, and I'd never spoke at any of my mum or dad's birthdays. I'd always be asked to do it and then go, I will do it. But I'm painfully shy, which is my way of covering that. And the little psychological safety thing is to just be this loud, boisterous guy that you'll hear it in when I frame a sentence. I'll talk, and then if I'm nervous about what I just said, I don't have conviction in it, I'll just say I'll laugh through it, which I'm trying to pull back. It's just this tick.
Yeah, but you're doing a great job. Public speaking is probably the number one. I think it is the number one fear for the general population. And I think you're doing a great job launching this podcast. And I think it was maybe a few years ago when you did your first face reveal, I've definitely noticed after that, you've just become like so much more out of your shell and a lot more confident, especially talking on camera and socializing. I've also seen as well the content you're making, you just look like you're having a lot of fun. Like when you're taking the piss out of Ben Stokes or Stuart Broad or the AI stuff, like that's so funny. And it's just good that people can take a joke. And I think you've really found your niche, especially in Australia, that the engagement you get is just very funny and it's relatable. So no, you guys are doing a great job.
That's really, it means a lot to hear that. So
all good.
Thank you. But
it's not an easy thing doing what you're doing. People think you just sit in a chair and yap, but you don't. You actually have to do a lot of research. You have to go off the feeling of the conversation. You have to try and remember things. But no, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. The part of what I was saying before with listening to you and watching you able to do that at the memorial, my first public speaking engagement. I actually did it. It was my grandmother passed away, and I just went, no, fuck it, I'm doing it. And a similar feeling afterwards. Fuck, if I can do that.
Yeah.
There was a big room for like mum's the oldest of 10. We have an enormous family, so not quite the MCG and millions of people watching, but it was that mini sort of, okay, that went well.
Yeah.
I'm all right. So I've got this tick list now of things I want to do. I want to speak at something of a milestone thing of a father or a family member. Or I couldn't even speak at my partner's 30th. I was just so terrified. I had to, oh wow, I've had a few too many to drink and maybe attack it. It's that I want to be able to speak.
Yeah, and I think it's just practice. I think it's like anything. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and you just got to keep practicing. And I think it's sort of never too late to start. I think I've not started this too late. I'm 26, but like I wish I'd started this with Dad in 2019. Like how cool would that been? I would have had an episode a week for 6 years, 300 episodes. Like that would be so cool. But like I haven't. But I'm not going to think about it like that. I'm thinking, okay, I've done one episode. I'm talking a lot more on camera. I'm getting a lot more confident. And especially like what you just said, if you've got that perspective that you just spoke at your grandma's funeral, and I'm sorry to hear about your grandma, but if you've got that perspective of you've just spoken about something that is so emotional, that gives you strength. That gives you confidence. That gives you courage to just want to do it more and more confidence to talk on camera. And I think it's just about getting practice. And I'm somebody, I've never seen a therapist, never sort of spoke to anybody about problems, but I've found, especially since the legacy and the podcasting and people I've spoken to, there's just something about being vulnerable or getting it off your chest and not trying to sound like sad or cringe or whatever, but there's actually a lot of power getting it off your chest. And for example, I have been driving Dad's car the last 3 years since he's passed away. And for me, every time I'm hopping in the car, if there's something for me to talk about and I don't have anyone to talk to about it, I'll just talk out loud for 20, 30 minutes. And I'll pretend Dad's sitting with me in the car, like I feel him and I'm talking to him. And I feel like it really helps me. And even though no one's hearing it, I hope Dad's hearing it, but he might not be. It's just for me to say it out loud, get it off my chest. And I'm like, oh, I actually feel really good now. It's actually not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys do.
I actually do that. I actually do that a lot. I speak to my grandmother a lot. I speak to my grandfather who passed away many years ago. But I think I actually got that from my mum, who just almost exactly the same explanation there. It should just have a chat to him. If he's there, he's there. He's listening.
And there's just something in just getting it off your chest instead of letting it build up. Because I probably, like when I was at school and for such a long time, would just bury all these emotions and just suppress it all the way down and never talk about anything. But then it's like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, or other people are going through the same thing. Like no matter how niche or personal or weird your situation or whatever your emotion you're feeling, it's very likely someone's also experiencing it.
It's one of the things I like about what we do, Veg. Yes, we will put AI nappies on Virat Kohli and Joe Root and everyone. We're able to. We like to think that we can use that sort of satire and ridiculousness to disarm stuff, so that we can sit down like we are now. And 5 minutes ago, we were talking about AI and having a laugh. But are we that comfortable if we're not? Reading the two and just relaxing and having the shoulders down.
I think for me, I've always felt like I felt better when things were out of my head. I just don't believe that having all of your problems inside your head and trying to figure stuff out actually works. Humans are wired for like ding dong potato. We're pretty like simple creatures, and we're trying to contemplate all these crazy things. So I've always felt I've been really comfortable talking always in my life. So that's I'm grateful for that. But writing also, I just write stuff down. I write like dot point lists on my notes. My notes are just like pretty much my psychologist. You know what I mean? Like my notes on my phone.
I love sitting next to Vedran because I sort of see it, but it can't. I've got bad eyes, so I'm just sort of seeing bits and pieces.
So I've got a bloke on my screen wearing a Warnie's Grouse cricket shirt. But
no. There's a really good story about that. The Warnie's Grouse T-shirt. He had just done I'm pretty sure he had just caught the ball, or the ball had come to him and he had spilt his beer, and he was waving at Dad, waving at Dad, waving at Dad. Dad didn't see him, and there's a really funny photo, or video, if you keep watching that, he goes, and gets really angry and starts crying. I'm pretty sure...
the guy with the shirt on does.
Is he quite overweight?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the story behind that photo. I think there's a video of that story, but... Yeah, going back to sort of getting things out of your head, we're social beings. You know, for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, we had no technology, no anything, and we just socialised with the other humans. And that's what we did.
But it's an interesting predicament. That's why I just went a little bit silent there. I'm like, yeah, you're right. To not be, we were speaking about, we both had sort of social anxiety and that sort of thing. I'm still trying to work it out where it came from me, and whether I spent a little bit more time at home and with family rather than at school. I had a different sort of schooling experience. You had a pretty interesting, I'd imagine that would have been interesting as a young'un, travelling the world and doing all that sort of stuff. Did you, with school and stuff, was it a normal sort of experience, or were you travelling a little bit more? Or?
No, I love school. I was lucky that the school I went to, Brighton Grammar, I found my two best friends who now live with me, Xavier and Sam. I met them in ELC 3, so we've been best mates since we were 3 years old.
They are the most Brighton Grammar names I've ever heard in my life.
Xavier, Sam and Jackson.
They definitely wear these exact shoes. The
MCC?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, please.
Yeah, no, we have been best friends since we were literally 3 years old, and I was so lucky that I was always surrounded by them my whole schooling life. And sure, when I was at school, a few of the older people would always go, that's Shane Warne's son, that's Shane Warne's son, and you sort of struggle with, I'm also just Jackson. But do you know how cool it is to say, Shane Warne's my dad, or I'm Shane Warne's son? That's so cool. And I think you can't change who you are, so you may as well just embrace it. And I'm so proud to say he's my dad. But my schooling life was pretty normal. Lived in the area that we went to school in, walked to school, got dropped off at school, did normal subjects. Yeah. There was probably the only crazy thing was when Dad had the year off in 2004 or 3, I want to say it was. We did a year in school in England.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really we went to a boarding school. I didn't board because I was a bit too young. My older sister did, but that's probably the craziest. I'm not sure if it's seeing crazy or not.
It's pretty, no,
that's
crazy.
Just very normal schooling.
I was just intrigued what that was like at that age, while the touring and at the peak of everything.
Probably the only thing that I am quite sad about is how much time I missed away from Dad, just because when you're playing Test cricket, you're always travelling. And I thought, yes, 2007, he's just retired. This is great. We'll be able to spend some more time with him. But then his schedule probably actually got 100 times busier, because after he retired, he then played IPL for 3 years or 4 years with Rajasthan over in India. He'd also just started commentating. He'd also just become a professional poker player. He'd also just become an amateur in golf and would follow all of that around. I was still at school, so he'd become so busy. And then after he'd finished at Rajasthan, he then went to Melbourne Stars. Then after Melbourne Stars, he did this Cricket All-Stars, all while he's still commentating and doing the golf and poker on the side, doing all of his businesses as well. So his schedule actually got way busier. But I actually think some of the best times I ever had with my dad were the first sort of few months of COVID, where I knew when I was going to sleep, Dad would be upstairs going to sleep as well, and I could wake up and I'd be with him. That was just the happiest days, because I sort of had him to myself, and I never thought about it like that. And Howie only reminded me of it when I had him on my podcast. He said some of the best times he had ever had was with Dad in the taxi, when he had Dad to himself for 15 or 45 minutes. And so I look back and I've gone, I had Dad all to myself for 2-3 months during COVID, where we could eat whatever we want, watch whatever we want, do whatever we want. And that was just some of the best and most happiest memories I've ever got with him.
That's fantastic.
He showed me all of his favourite movies, Basic Instinct, Top Gun, Indecent Proposal, all these classic movies I'd never seen. I could see in his face, let's watch this movie today. I can't wait to show you this. Or I want to watch the 1989 or 1993 grand final with you. This is real footy.
Yeah.
All these cool things that would just make him so excited, but never had time to show me. Was just, it was awesome.
It sounds like it was a bit of a circuit breaker. I'd imagine with Test cricketers, as you're saying, they're just constantly on the move. What's the next thing? We're in this country or that country, and then we have this season of that thing. Yeah. It sounds like that followed him post-career. That COVID was horrible for a lot of reasons, but that was a similar experience to what I had during it. Was all of a sudden it was like, no, you will be at home. Yeah. You will be present with your partner. You'll see probably a lot more of my family. And it wasn't that for a lot of people. Got to acknowledge it was very different, but for me it was very similar to what you're saying there.
Just spending quality time with your family.
Yeah. I loved it.
I was being a bit gentle there.
I was living in a share house. I had a couple of mates who all had partners. So, there'd be 6 of us, every Friday, Saturday night. Like, I mean, I didn't love it, but make the most of it, right? Like, you're in that situation.
I had a bit of fear as we were talking then. Like, I can hear the COVID, the people who are still hanging on to that in the comment sections coming at me after hearing that. So, oh, no, it wasn't. I acknowledge that wasn't for everyone. And, don't come at me. But, I loved it.
Yeah, I had so much quality time with Dad. So, in that first 2020 years of COVID, it was probably from March to July. I loved it. And it was actually even though it was sad, we lost 2 years, we'll never get back. It was actually really exciting sometimes coming home and sort of saying to Dad, oh my God, they've just cancelled the Olympics. Oh my God, they've just cancelled Wimbledon. And you're hearing all these things, you're going, surely not, that can't be real. And he goes, fuck, that's real. And so it was just so bizarre that all of these things that if we had thought about it now would never seem true or ever happen again. You're looking at these things going, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
So just to see Dad's reaction his whole life, Olympics every 4 years or Cricket World Cups or all these things, he's like, surely they can't cancel Wimbledon.
The impossible just kept happening over and over again.
Yeah, surely they're not going to lock us and give us a curfew. Yep. Yeah. All these things. And I just was so surprised that was actually some of the best times I had with my dad.
Did you do any of the sneak outs and, that 5 kilometres? Yeah. It's the 5 kilometre radius.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone did.
We're all human.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all human.
Mate, tell me a little bit about Jackson. Right, we've spent a lot of time talking about your dad and what you're doing, but how would your friends describe you as a person?
I reckon they would say very generous, always early, maybe quite boring. I love the same 2 mates, Xavier and Sam. We do the same things every weekend: play Super Smash Bros, order Maccas, put a multi on while watching the footy. We'll pick maybe 2 or 3 legs each. But I'm a bit of a, I'm a bit of a creature of habit, a bit like Dad, where I found my 2 or 3 mates and I've got my 2 or 3 things which I love doing, and so that's what I do. But love my Lego, love going to watch sport, love remembering and talking about Dad, love going out with my girlfriend to dinners and stuff like that. We probably get Maccas maybe a bit too much, but no, I'm a very.
They'll be listening, friends of the show.
Yeah, I wonder if that franchise is still up for sale. If they're open to offers.
Maybe I would love to somehow get involved there if it's still possible.
Maybe you can go work there for 12 months. Sounds like you kind of enjoy it.
Definitely, yeah. It'd be like my sort of dream. I'd probably turn into Fat Jack again if I went there. That's what happened to me during 2022. I put on 15 kilos in about 4 or 5 months and turned into Fat Jack. That's what my friends and family call me. But
that's nice of them.
But no, they keep me accountable, and I think that's who Jackson is. I think Jackson's a generous man. I think he, loves his mates, loves his food, loves poker, loves building Lego. Very quiet, introverted. And
that's awesome.
I think he's slowly getting a lot more confident talking on camera and doing things like this.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely my perception of you anyway.
This path that you're on at the moment with the foundation, obviously now the podcast, where does that lead you? Do you think about that? Do you go in 5 years' time, I want to be doing X and work backwards? Or do you just go, I'm enjoying this for now?
I've definitely got a 2 to 3 year plan with the podcast and with the legacy. But I think for now, because obviously in 2-3 years, I don't think I'll be able to rinse and repeat talking stories about Dad. And I might not even feel comfortable in 3 years only talking about Dad. I don't know. But how I'm feeling right now, which is the only thing I can sort of speak on, which is I love talking about Dad. There's a lot of people out there that love hearing stories about Dad. And as long as the guests coming on feel comfortable to talk about Dad, I will. But I also want the podcast to be something bigger than that. I'm so passionate about health and fitness in the gym. So I'd love to talk to people like Kellen von Moger. I'm not sure if you know who he is. He was who got me into the gym, who I've idolized in the gym space, and he's sort of had a bit of a rocky path the last few years. And I think I'd love to talk to anybody about anything. A bit like Joe Rogan. I think sports will be my core of what the podcast will be, whether it be somebody like Eddie Maguire, who's not directly a sportsman, but he was involved in it with his presidency in Collingwood, now commentator and broadcaster and panelist. So I think sports will definitely be the core, but, you know, don't always have to talk about dad or talk about sport. I've got somebody that reached out who does LED lights for Lego. So I'd love to talk to him and I'd just pick his brain for an hour about Lego. So
that's so good.
Yeah.
Eddie's such an interesting man. Like I'd love to have him on. I just think
we're working on that. We'd love to have him on because he's just, to your point.
He's just done so much, and I just love how passionate he is. Like, obviously we're big Saints men, so, you know, I don't think too highly of Collingwood, but I just think he's such a passionate guy. He's someone that you'd want on your side, no matter what you're doing.
And he has a great story. You know, I don't want to spoil it too much, but his family comes from Scotland, and then he grew up in Broadmeadows, and he's just got pretty much like a
God's country.
Yeah, he's got like a pretty, not rough upbringing, but it was different. You know, he always hustled his whole life. He said he had started his full-time schedule when he was about 12 or 13 years old, because I joked with him when he came on my podcast. I reached out to him. We replied straight away. He said, yep, speak to my EA and organise a time. This would have been in maybe April. And then we ended up speaking in, it would have been, I think, early July, so around 3 months. So as a joke, I brought up one of Dad's calendars that we've all kept every year for the last 15 years. Dad would always have his whole year planned out before it had happened. Yeah, so we're in 2025 right now in August. He had already had 2026 planned every day. Really? But he'd be working on 2027. So I brought that up with Eddie. I said, look, I know you're a busy man and, you know, you have to schedule in all this stuff. Were you a bit like Dad? And I brought up the big calendar. He's like, yeah, mate, got the same thing, and you know all that sort of stuff. So
that would be cool to look at his reaction when you do that.
Yeah, it was. He had done that since year 6. He said was his first job.
Wow.
Year 6, he was working pretty much full time.
What a legend.
I did my calendar this morning for this afternoon. I think this is my issue, Jacko.
No,
I wanted to take something from this.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable, Jim. We're like, oh, let's get him for the pot at 10. And he's like, no, 10:30. I'm like, all right, sweet. And I text him at 9 going, no, let's do 11. He still got in at 11:15.
Yeah.
I texted Jacko, said, you're like, I'm going to the gym. I'll probably just get there a bit earlier. I'm like, Warrandyte. I'm going to struggle. I was optimistic about 10:30.
Yeah.
Did not come to be.
No, but that's okay. Thank you just for having me. It's been really good. I hope you guys have sort of enjoyed it, and good luck with Eddie and all of your future guests.
It's been absolutely brilliant. So thank you again so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
It's the world.
Legend.
No, it's also like cool to sort of get things off my chest and have some things in common. Didn't realise you were a Saints fan. I hope next time we meet and catch up, we're doing a little bit better, or Naz has signed a deal.
I'm sure we will, mate. Maybe we can go toast and celebrate when he does.
Yeah, hopefully you get closer to LeBron. I actually have a LeBron story. It was the first year I went to Las Vegas. It used to be our family holiday. Every June, July, would go there for 5-6 weeks.
That's a great family holiday.
Because Dad would be playing in the World Series, which is the World Series of Poker. It's the main event. And there was one year that, because Dad would always be away, like out every day, so we'd just be chilling by the pool. But where we were at the Win or the Encore, we were in like a private pool area. And at the time, we were maybe 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little bit old, maybe 10 years old. And in walks the pool, LeBron's family. And LeBron was just walking out. At the time, I didn't know who it was. And I sort of, you know, you see this big black guy and you're thinking, oh, it's an NBA player. You're sort of looking and you go, oh, and everyone thought, that's LeBron. And his kids were in the pool and we're going, this is so cool. And so that's sort of my LeBron story.
So
and later that day, I got into a lift with Blake Griffin.
Who was a very funny guy.
Yeah.
He's a post-career a pretty funny dude, isn't he?
Hilarious. But that's my sort of LeBron story. I spent the day with his family in the pool and was like, that's LeBron James, and then went up a lift with Blake Griffin.
Also the king.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
the king,
Michael Jordan was the. Oh, you mean that king? Sorry, no. There's two kings in my head,
isn't he? LeBron, he's the self
king. No, he's proclaimed by me as well, King James.
Is he your number one? You love it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Guess who not to be sort of actually no, I'm not a name dropper, so I'm not going to drop it.
Drop it.
I'll tell you after the podcast. No, I'm not a name dropper.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Even though I did just drop a name drop of LeBron James, I try not.
And you just
it was more his kids.
It was his kids. Yeah,
you did drop Blake Griffin out of your pocket.
And Blake Griffin, I did. Sorry,
we're pro name dropping here.
Yeah, we're all about name dropping.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's the Saudi prince that we're going to become friends
Prince
with?
bin Salman.
Yes, which we glaze over just quickly before we wrap. Turkey, hair transplants we were talking about before. We are actually arranging a trip to Turkey if we can acquire a private jet from our Saudi friends that don't exist.
What might actually be cheaper is if Jackson hooks us up with some advanced hair studio. Because instead of paying $100,000 to go to Turkey, maybe we can.
Is that how much it would cost?
Oh, no, we want to fly private.
Oh, you want to fly private?
Yes.
No, the actual procedure costs $5,000. Less than.
Is that because are you getting like everything or more thickness or just in one spot?
Yeah, what are you getting?
That seems quite cheap, 5K. I thought it was like maybe 20 or 25.
In Australia it is.
Is it?
Yeah,
but it's 5,000.
It's like $5,000, yeah. That's why everyone goes there.
So is it like $5 a hair or something? That's because that's how they work it out, isn't it? They work it out with, I'm pretty sure they work it out with how many.
I don't know, but they look after you. That includes the hotel and everything. It's quite. I know a couple of people who've done it now, and they look fantastic.
I want some beautiful looking teeth for my spot on Peaky Blinders.
No, that's good. I'm definitely getting thinner. Thank you, Dad. But bald spot up here, getting thinner. I think my hairline's okay.
Mate, take a summer, just pre-record lots of pods, and then just take 3 months to Turkey, and then just drop the pods every week. No one's going to know.
Our great friend Tommy Morris, who came on a few weeks
back. He's a big advocate for it.
Huge. Yeah. He's big on, what do you say? He's trying to normalise
it.
Yes.
He wants to break the stigma of it, which I think a lot more people are now. I think that's one thing modern science is doing really well, which is, hair, all that sort of stuff. Like, sure, it's not natural, but if you're on this planet and you want to be a happy person, there's something that's not making you happy and you can pay for a surgery to make you happy and to make you more confident, why would you not do that?
Absolutely. We laugh and stuff.
Go get those calf implants, Jim.
Yeah, I want calves. I'm 6'10". I've never had calves.
So the calves, are they going to make you even taller or they're just bigger muscle calves?
No, aesthetically pleasing, I hope.
Aesthetically pleasing.
As an engaged 36-year-old, that's what I need on the beach, is to have better calves.
Oh, good man. Well, I hope you have your calves. I hope you get your calves, and I hope you find a sponsor for your Turkey trip.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Good man.
Awesome.
No, thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
Well, sorry I had to climb back.